Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, I want to talk about theories and what this is in regard to science. So we have theories, we have research, and we have development. So let's cut these down to what they really are. Now, what you have and what most people who call themselves physicists, what they really are is theoretical physicists. Meaning, this is what Einstein was. Einstein was a theoretical physicist. So were so many other people, particularly popular on YouTube, who talk about multi-universes, string theories, the big man in the sky, the moon being cheese, and all the other things that they have through dumbademia, come up to a hypothesis, which is another word they like to use around. Neil deGrasse Tyson likes to use the word hypothesis, which means something that's basically proven, but it's really not. Theory is the word that is used all the time. Einstein's theory of relativity. And we hear this word theory come out. And theory is something that is thought to be something that may manifest in the future, but we haven't proved it yet. And people don't agree upon it. And the bottom line is a lot of people don't agree with Einstein even today, and rightfully so. He gave a theory. And his theory wasn't even his own. He re-explained a theory that was 100 years earlier than his writing of the new interpretation of that old theory, and was given so much credit. And I believe it was 4 pages, and the math was wrong and everything else. I mean, Einstein, in his own way, who was a genius and a retard at the same time, he couldn't even talk, I believe, until he was 4 years old. He was turned down for a high school teaching job. Got a job in the patent office in Austria, which I guess has low standards, and wrote a paper that everybody just flopped on. Oh, it's genius. The guy's amazing. And everybody bought into this. And as I said, it's totally contrived. Wasn't his idea. But he just kind of explained it better. And people say, oh, it kind of makes sense. But it's a theory. And a lot of people don't buy what he says now. And there's a lot of discussion. And we know that he was wrong when it comes to quantum physics and even the major belief in science, which is the fact you can't possibly go faster than the speed of light. So they've limited themselves without proof of anything else. But the proof that they like to have is their theories that this has. String theory. Well, this is a theory again. A lot of people have now discredited this, saying it's ridiculous. But a theory is a theory. And people are paid lots of money and given lots of credit for coming up with maybes, ifs, and ands. This is kind of what we think, and they're never really able to prove it. A theory is an educated guess. That's exactly what it is. It's a guess. And the bottom line is that's what pretty much most things in life are. They're guesses. I guess you could say an educated guess is a little better because you're assuming somebody in a field would know something. But it doesn't matter. It's a guess. It is not engineering, which has to work or should work, works on paper and works in the practical world, or it ain't engineering. If something is engineered and it breaks, that ain't engineering. That doesn't work. So we can get back to theoretically it was supposed to work. Practically, it didn't work. So it is important to differentiate between the two, but it doesn't matter. Anytime we get into theoretical, anytime we get into physics in general, the studies of physical matter, which is what physics really is about, we don't know nothing. We take two things and smash them together in Switzerland. That's what a collider is. And the poo that comes out of that is supposedly what the universe is made out of. That presents itself for a billionth of a second, that they then say, oh yeah, there's some proof of that. Because they have to have something physical that they claim something happens. And how you can even judge something that happens for such a quick period of time. We're talking quick, billions of a second, million, whatever it is. It's something ridiculous or something that's left over that's tiny for tiny periods of time. So this is really very contrived. These are people protecting their jobs, trying to say they're doing something when they're doing nothing. And because they're physically based and not energetic or vibrationally based, they have to come up with something physical. So it's kind of like a demolition derby. And we're supposed to figure out how an engine is made by the cars crashing together. And a couple crash together really hard, and the hood comes off, and a carburetor pops out. And another one, the starter pops out. And we're taking these bits of parts that really don't know what they do, and they're little bits and pieces, and of course they're not even getting, something that concrete, but I'm trying to explain this in a manner you would understand. And they're trying to say, well, this is the essence of creation. Part of the essence of creation is the starter and the carburetor. But you could never hit those cars together at a high enough rate that it would take the internal engine and show you that's what it was made from. But that's what scientists are trying to do from Dummadamia. Hey, I'm from Dummadamia. Read the certificate here. I'm a retard. Official. And I make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And the problem with these people is not only are they arrogant in that way, but they're committing crimes against humanity because they are the biblical speakers to the common person. Well, we don't believe in no fantasy in them fantasy books. We're scientists. So the whole idea is they claim they can prove something when they really can't. They can't prove anything. They haven't proved anything. Physics as a study has not improved for 200 years. There's been no breakthroughs. And you could really go back to Newton 500 years. Nothing new has been learned. Because there's nothing for them to learn in their biblical science reality. They have horrible dogmas, and anybody that comes in and says differently is thrown into the trash, disgraced, or thrown on the street. Scientists themselves state that science moves ahead with the death of every scientist because somebody is standing in way of progress. Well, I think it's time for guillotines or maybe a machine gun in your local physics hall. Maybe this way we can move science ahead very quickly by getting rid of a whole bunch of these crimes against humanity, criminals, these traitors that should be executed. After a proper trial, of course. That wouldn't be too difficult. What have you done in 200 years? We made Velcro. Oh, well, that's amazing. It locks together. So the whole idea is that we need to fully understand that. So anytime somebody tells you it's a theory, and then you get the twisted goobahs out there. They want to tell you a little different, like Neil Tyson deGrasse, who wants to use a different term, a hypothesis, which is an educated guess based on the knowledge that we have, is my understanding of it. And the whole idea is that they pretty much wants to somehow, I've heard Tyson state that, we really understand all this. We know what's going on. We just can't solve any problems. We can't build anything worth a damn. So it goes on and on and on with these things. These are nothing more than guesses. And if your education is wrong, it's a guess that really sounds good, but it's really based in what? In wrong education that doesn't make sense. Now, the place where Radionic Tech is at is that we're in the development stages and have proven technology that works, particularly with our new Psion generator, which I have been testing for years and is based on proven technologies that have worked for over 100 years. And there are thousands, tens of thousands, possibly millions of people who have used similar technologies. Of course, this is a very advanced technology, the Psion generator, but has used similar technologies to manifest and change their world. So this isn't a theory. This isn't we're researching. That's the other term. We're researching. We're taking the information we have now and researching if it can work. That's what research is. So you go from the hypothesis, it's maybe, okay, it's maybe. I spent 12 years in school. I got a certificate. Did you see it? I talked about it. I got this whole school getting hundreds of millions of dollars and all of them and doing this great research. We got plastic and Velcro now. Ooh. So we've got all this, but at least plastic and Velcro are fully developed technology. It works. Plastic is plastic. Velcro is Velcro. And they do some damn good work. We use them all the time. I'm a big supporter of Velcro. So the whole idea is that we need to understand it, but that's not what physicists talk about. They talk about, well, where did the essence of Velcro come from? We don't know. But that's what you'll get a physicist that tells you. So they're trying to figure out how the world works with no answers whatsoever, nothing to do it. And their methods of doing things are all in the research area. We're going to research it. We're going to smash stuff together and do this. And of course, we got to do it faster. We need a bigger collider. It's got to go faster with more so we can smash things at higher velocities. So we can knock a spark plug out of that engine. And we're going to say, yeah, look at the spark plug. Yeah, what is a spark plug? I don't know, but it's a part of the part of the magic of creation. And of course, then you have imbeciles that some mythical being in the sky called Gotti make everything. It's Gotti. It makes everything. So the whole idea is that these kind of things, of course, are absurd. It makes no sense whatsoever. And the bottom line, if you start getting into beings that create things, well, who created God? So we have to understand. And, of course, these are basically unknowable questions. What came first, the chicken or the egg? The whole idea is that it's really unknowable. How did the universe start? Well, there seems to be some spontaneous process, but to think that this is so random, as scientists like to say, makes no sense. It's unrandom, that it has to be controlled by some God. It just shows you how stupid they are. I don't think there's anything random in the universe, period. And all of my proven research shows there's not. There's a very intelligent energy that does stuff, or we wouldn't have any. No, it's just random, just random. That's what scientists say, because they have no other way. If they get into the non-randomness, then they have to think a little bit past that, and they would have to get their math right. Oh, no, let's go to Newton. When you don't get your math right, or the math doesn't add up to what you're saying, invent your own, called calculus. Newton invented calculus to explain his theories. Where's the scientific proof that goes there? Where is his compatriots figuring out this and justifying what he's saying? Because, yeah, I tested it too. Science! No. We make it a math here. And of course, this guy was an alchemist, a raving, spiritual, or religious nutjob who lived in almost a monkish life. All sorts of stories about him and his bizarre, if any, sexuality. So, I mean, these are some pretty disturbed people. And maybe that's why they come up with things. And of course, Newton has some good basics, but and if he was allowed to do other. But most of his time was spent in alchemy, meaning, guess what? Spent in alternative science, otherwise known as subtle energy physics. He was working in subtle energy physics, as everyone, Tesla, etc. All these people that did great stuff. But of course, with Newton, they just want to pick and choose of his stuff. Just like so many other scientists who are child molesters, racists, and everything else. Let's name something after them. The Hubble telescope. Because he was the biggest jerk we could find. And we're scientists. We have to pet each other. Our big salaries, and you're living in your fantasy world and protected by your little institute. That's not enough. I want it named after me, even though millions of people make a telescope, technically. And it should be a general term. No one person did anything. Maybe we should name it after the guy who dug up the metal to make the telescope, or the guy who made the fuel to shoot that piece of garbage into space. Nah, you don't count. No. Some other idiot. So the whole idea is that all this is built. From what I understand, the telescope was invented by Galileo. So it should be the Galileo space telescope. At least he invented something that comes close to what was used up there, not Hubby Hubby the Monkey Man. So the whole idea is that who apparently was a horrible racist, just like Schrodinger was a child molester, or you could call him pedophile, underage girls who just humping in the Alps with his other Austrian scumbuckets. Yeah, this pump of the iron. So the whole idea is that this is the kind of creeps that are in science to begin with. And there's a long list of these deviants. But certainly they don't deserve to have things named after them, particularly something so generic as a space telescope. What egomaniacs. And I hope you understand the problem there. So this is the reason why science is the crime against humanity that it is. But when we get into it, as I said, you go from theories, ifs, ands, and buts, me educated, me thinky this way, into research. So you're supposed to then take the theory and then research it to see if it makes any sense. Is there anything practical you can make of it? And that means, can you materialize something? Now, if you're trying to materialize things in a physical manner, you're already having problems. If you're looking for energy, vibrations, subtle energy physics, then you're in the real world, and everything goes from energy into physical form. That's the way everything works. Now, physicists believe things are physical and then turn into farts, I guess. I'm not really sure what they think physical turn. So the whole idea is then they have to make up all their stories and, yeah, it doesn't have mass, but we can measure it so it's real. They're actually going to tell you that a neutron, how much it weighs. Because they have to weigh something for it to be real. Instead of getting into vibrations and all the other things and energies that manifest in physical form, they can't wrap their head around that. No. It's not in the book. The Bible is science. That's heresy. Because this guy told me 500 years ago. I mean, this is the kind of madness that's written. But let it be assured that people who really know what they're doing and produce technologies that do something and control matter and manifest for you are not in the stages of theories or research. They're in developmental stages, meaning we know what's there, how it works, and we're developing it into a practical, affordable, mass-marketable tool. So everybody can use it that has any kind of brains. We don't want the schmientists to use it. We don't want those idiots to use it. We don't want those religious goofballs. All the people who have basically committed horrible crimes against humanity by stopping the progression of free thought to higher levels. Haven't you had long enough religion with your anywhere from 1,500 to 4,000 years to do your job that you have 100% failed at? And modern science has been given trillions, at least for the last 50 years, if not longer, and what have they produced? Nothing. In 200 years of study of physics, they have not had any major breakthroughs. Now, regular physicists will admit this. And really, there hasn't been any breakthroughs since Newton, who figured everything out. Part-time, by the way, while he was doing subtle energy physics and alchemy and writing religious books and researching the Bible, all the things that really make you wacky. But the point is, that's what he was doing. Part-time. He only spent part of his career. Most of his life was spent in alchemy and writing religious books. In his hobby was figuring out physics. Very, very interesting. So the whole idea is that this entire field of subtle energy physics is not either being theorized or researchized. It's being developed. And that's what the key factor is. And life is really about developing something, getting something in its form that works, and then getting it to work better, faster, more efficient, and of course, No technology has value if it costs too much money. You know, I see this all the time. Oh, we have this thing, and you can get this medical test, and you can have this treatment. Only $10,000. Or the criminals in the pharmaceutical industries that want to have you pay $800-900 for a pill, or thousands for pills. So that's not a cure. We don't even know. Is it guaranteed? Will any of these people guarantee that? And, you know, if you're going to charge over, I would say, $5 per pill, it should be a guarantee where you bring the pills back and get your money back. I think that would keep a little bit of honesty in a crooked profession. But the bottom line is that you're supposed to make something better, more effective, and ultimately have a price point that is practical so that it can be afforded by everyone if the need be. If it isn't, that it has not been developed to the level it should be. Most likely it's just in some bogus theory. But it's very important to understand the process that regular science goes. So it goes from me thinky, me educatedy in a system that has produced nothing, to me research that same bogus belief system. That's what they do, and that's why nothing ever happens. But in the real world, people that develop products that work, they go from those three phases into development. Development means we have something that works. We're just getting it in a condition to offer it to the public. And of course, that's what Radionic Tech has done. And our new Psionic generator is the first generation of the massive new technology, the new reality, the next level technology that actually manifests something for you. Basically, from your reality and from your capacities. This is not a magic lamp. Things don't pop up in front of you. It deals with energies, and it makes them denser and denser that are within your reality. Everyone needs to understand that. It's not some fantasy reality perpetrated by a bunch of liars out there like your common scientists do that claim they have answers when they have absolutely nothing. They're living in theories. There's nothing being developed. They have nothing to develop. It's amazing how most of these physicists, particularly those who have dedicated their life to this, are all quitting and going on to other things because there's nothing to research. It's a dead end. And they have made it that way, and they don't have the courage to get up and state that what we're doing is wrong. Let's try these other things. Because they will be ostracized, they'll be thrown out of their jobs, they'll be thrown on the street. That's how science works, and that's why science itself is bogus and will never achieve anything, and really never has. Most things have come down to an engineering feat. So engineering departments have figured out how to make bridges, how to make plastic, how to do these other things, and a large percent of the time we get some sort of usable product at it. The lower it gets down to the consumer, the crappier it tends to be. I still don't quite understand why they can't make plastic that doesn't crack all the time. Particularly plastics that are placed outside and in the sun. They can't seem to figure that out. Too much for engineers. So all of this stuff is still in a difficult position, but at least we have a workable product, which we don't have with physicists. We have their thinky. Me thinky. We have their researchy that produces nothing. But when it comes to real technology and technologies that matter, which is manifesting, life is all about manifesting. This technology has been known for technically thousands of years through the ancient alchemical schools, the old magical lodges. Now it's come and moved into modern times to be a little more technologically based, but it's still the main situation with this kind of technology and all real technology is basically the user. You can get the most advanced computer program there is, the most advanced airplane, spaceship, whatever. You got to know how to use it. That takes a trained personnel. That's the interaction of the consciousness with the technology. And of course, when it gets into manifesting, it's the same thing. You have to interact with the technology. This is a way of protecting the use of the technology and allowing only a certain amount of highly trained and balanced people from using it, instead of the average physicist grabbing it and using it, because it won't work for these people. because they're morons. And morons, technology like this doesn't work for. They are corrupt. They are ignorant. They know nothing of what they do. And they stand on soapboxes arrogantly saying how wonderful they are. And they have many, many followers. And of course, that's really the problem with this reality. And that's the reason why there is technology like this that takes a certain consciousness and a level of understanding to use it and for it to work for them. That's the ultimate protection against corruption and destruction, which physicists have more than welcomed and given technologies to the worst tyrants of our time, giving them unbelievable weapons of destruction. Who did this? Your scientists did this. They did this because they have no morality. They're worse than your worst, lowest whore. And they are whores. They sell their soul. That's what a whore is. A whore sells their soul for silver, for coin, for profit. That's what they do, and that's what they are. People should get off the childish understanding of whore, relating it to some sort of prostitute. Your prostitutes out there that are destroying your society are your scientists that arm all the scumbuckets and are happy to do it. But the bottom line is that real technology that does something of a high level, not just a phone, not just a computer, not just a program, not just a filing cabinet, not just a word processor. These are tools of really a primitive nature that basically was able to be done before in a cruder way. Certainly all the stuff you store on a computer could be easily stored in filing cabinets. I did it for many years. Sure, you need a lot of them that way, but we're not talking about space here. We're talking about what it does. So it's a filing cabinet. And frankly, I was able to find things much easier in my paper filing cabinets than most of the time I am with computer files, which can easily get stuck in different places or not filed correctly. It's just another little folder somewhere. Well, when you had physical files, you had to look at that damn. Is it filed right? You had a stack of them that you wanted to file, and of course that had to be done. Now you just shove a folder in another folder, and God knows where that folder goes. So this is the reality of what goes on out there. So you just understand the fact of really what everything is based on, and who is really in the development stages. Well, Radionic Tech is in the development stages. We know all of our products have been developed and the best products ever offered in the manifesting field. And they all work, and they work individualistically for you, depending on what you need and how you need it. It's not the fact that it just works in one way. And that's the other genius of manifesting technologies, is that it's going to work within your own personal life. But don't think this universe is based on some lying theory by some con man. You know, you can make 30% interest by investing in this, and all the other cons where people have now lost billions and they've lost their entire savings and their entire retirement accounts because they were greedy and people lied to them, and they're lying to you right now, sciences. That's not how it works. You have to understand the principles of manifestation, how it manifests in your life, and use those, and you will become unbeatable. And you can pretty much, and we have to, because people's minds go into the sewer, you have to understand you can pretty much manifest whatever you want, or at least whatever you need to live well. And of course, that's what it's about. A lot of people think they need Rolls Royces and gold-plated toilet bowls and all that. So that's not wealth. That's disgust. That's evil. While other people are living on the street. Now, we've reached a time where that kind of desire and the fact that you live in a 15-room home and probably only use 2 rooms are evil. And this should stop. And you don't need a $100,000 car. While everyone else is suffering. What a low-level piece of garbage you are if you operate like that. Of course, you could never afford to take care of your workers or give them medical. And of course, an entire country like the United States can't afford medical. I'll never forget that scum bucket from Arizona who, thank God, he's dead, saying on the national network that they couldn't afford to pay for the medical prescriptions of their people, while we just gave $50 billion to the worst dictator, corrupt place in the world, Ukraine. Oh, we got money for that, huh? But we don't got money to take care of the older people and giving them even the crap drugs that benefit your corporate companies. So this is the kind of evilness out there, and this technology is not going to work for these people. I built it in there. It's going to work for those people who have brought their consciousness up to a level that they start manifesting something of value. And in the end, the only manifestation that really counts is the manifestation of ascending out of planet prison camp hell, planet Earth. That's the only thing. And that's the only thing you can take with you. You can have 50 houses filled with gold bullion. It ain't going with you, baby. Not unless you want to bury it in the ground next to you like these stupid Egyptians and everybody else did, burying stuff with them. The Vikings did the same thing. They killed people and put them in graves. And, of course, they were going to take them with them to the afterlife. I mean, what kind of stupid ignorance is that? And, of course, we found where that went. That went in the looters' pockets, who had plenty of it. So the whole idea is that's the only thing that really matters. The rest of it is controlling your environment and not being a slave to the environment you're in. And you can only do that with manifesting technologies. Your life is on the line with this stuff. Your well-being, your finances, everything is on the line as times get tougher and tougher. Are you one of those who are out doing something, empowering yourself, or not? And here's the technology to do it with. It's as simple and as difficult as that. These are tools, people. They are instruments. You have to learn how to play them to make beautiful music. And you have to be in a certain headspace, a certain vibration, and have positive, excellent thoughts to make this technology work for you. If you're corrupt or you're bad, don't do it. These things will turn on you and they will make your life worse. Of course, that's what's out there right now in this entire industry, which is building a bunch of toxic criminal garbage that they have the nerve to call radionics. Remember, people, it comes to the right people who should get it, and that's how life always has been. If you're going to allow yourself to be fooled and tricked by this low-level evil group that's out there exploiting you through their junk technology, which is almost everybody out there. I still have yet to find any kind of tools that are worth a damn, no matter who has come out with it. Some things are okay, and that's about it, but I've never seen any great results from all of these things out there. And there's been hundreds of them, and the life-saving supplements, coral calcium, garlic, it's going to change everything in your life. It doesn't. These things may be a minor help, but I've never seen any major changes for anybody, except people who were so messed up because of their own personal choices that when they change that, they then give credit to changing that from a substance or something else. It really has nothing to do with it. It has to be with the fact that, you lost 30 pounds. That's why you feel better now. Not because you took vitamin goopy goo from the company of monkeys. It's not the way it works. Well, I'm sure this wisdom is wasted on most of those listening to it, but it's very important to understand when anybody tells you that they are researching, well, this is a terrible term. Radionic Tech ain't researching, people. We are developing a potent technology that we know works and has worked as a primitive tool for over 100 years. Now we have developed it into an awesome tool, combining a synergistic relationship with what has been discovered by goofball scientists that has value. And you got to be smart enough to know what has value and isn't. So we understand some base level stuff, but we won't way past it. Of course, we get our information from people who understand, people like Tesla, people that understand subtle energy physics. And there's many of these people in the past, and they have expressed this and been pushed under the table. The theory of the ether, which Einstein was big on. Well, this is where energy comes from. The theory that there is this energy within the void of the emptiness goes back hundreds of years. This is not something science discovered. All they're doing is mimicking now what others have said hundreds of years ago to try and justify their position because they've been wrong. It's not complicated, but you don't need to know all the basics. Stay with companies that know what they're doing, who have good intentions, who haven't toxified, who aren't pulling something over you, and get the finest and best tools available, because ultimately that's where you have to start. If you don't have the right equipment, you're never going to be able to do the job properly. And here's your chance to get it. Scion Generator has been released. It's been out there for a week or two. We have sold out with our first run. We are making more. This is a great time to go to our website. Check out the unit. There are beautiful photos up there of what the unit looks like, how it works, and now you can get in on it. So get your purchase in, save money. It's temporarily on sale, has been discounted a few $100s, and of course these take about 4 weeks to manufacture, and because they're manufactured with you in mind and charged as well. But we do take time to accumulate some of the parts and to get things assembled. Everything is handmade, hand constructed, hand tested, and hand empowered to you, as all quality items are. So do check that out. Follow the link below. Change your life, change the world, and do something that works for a change. Until next time.